I want you to imagine this with me for a second. You're sitting in a tiny bedroom with peeling paint on the walls, your laptop is slower than a turtle in molasses, and every time you hit upload, you feel like you're tossing your soul into a black hole. That was me. I uploaded videos for years, literally years, with almost nobody watching. I'd refresh my YouTube studio and see numbers like 2 views, 3 views. Sometimes it was so bad I was convinced YouTube was broken. But here's the thing, those lonely uploads, those empty comment sections, they didn't crush me, they forged me. They pushed me to think bigger, work harder, and get so obsessed that failure wasn't a possibility. And eventually, all of that pain turned into my first 100 subscribers. I was just a teenager when this obsession started. Other kids were busy worrying about what shoes to buy, what party to go to, or who they were texting on Friday night. Meanwhile, I was locked inside my room, hunched over my screen, trying to figure out how YouTube worked. And trust me, I didn't have the setup you probably think I had. No fancy microphone, no powerful editing rig, no big studio, just a beat-up laptop, free software, and a dream that felt way too big for the room I was sitting in. Every day after school, I'd come home and dive straight into editing. My fingers would hurt, my eyes would burn, but I didn't care. I wanted YouTube so badly that it was like oxygen to me. When people asked me what my future plan was, I didn't hesitate. I didn't say college, I didn't say job, I didn't even say backup plan. I said YouTube. And when they laughed, I laughed too because I knew they didn't see what I saw. But let me be real with you, those first years, they were brutal. I made hundreds of videos that nobody cared about. Titles that went nowhere. Thumbnails that looked like garbage. Jokes that didn't land. Videos that never even made it past 10 views. I'd pour days of energy into a single upload, hit publish, and watch it die within an hour. The silence was deafening. There were nights where I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was insane. Everyone else seemed to move on with their lives. They were learning skills, they were saving money, they were climbing ladders. And me? I was stuck, broke, and obsessed with the platform that gave me nothing back. But here's the kicker. I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. Because every time I failed, I learned something new. Every video that tanked taught me more about pacing, more about editing, more about thumbnails, more about the algorithm. Failure wasn't the end. It was my university. And let me tell you just how deep the obsession went. While my friends were hanging out, I was scrolling through YouTube analytics like a detective trying to solve a murder case. I'd break down successful videos frame by frame. Why did they use that cut? Why did they hold that shot for 7 seconds instead of 5? Why did the title have a number in it? Why was the thumbnail so simple, but so powerful? I spent thousands of hours just studying. And when I say thousands, I mean it literally. If I wasn't making videos, I was thinking about making videos. If I wasn't thinking about making videos, I was dreaming about making videos. My brain didn't know how to turn it off. And honestly, that's the only reason I survived those first years. Because most people give up when the results don't come fast enough. But I didn't care how long it took. I knew that if I just kept going, one day, one video would break through. That turning point didn't come with a viral explosion. It came with tiny sparks. My views started creeping from 10 to 50, from 50 to 100, then maybe 200. It wasn't much, but it was proof that something I was doing was working. That proof kept me alive. It kept me grinding. Because once you see that tiny bit of traction, you realize this isn't impossible. This is just hard. And I can do hard. I remember one video where I counted to 10, 0, just me literally counting numbers for hours. People thought I was nuts, and maybe I was, but I knew something that everyone else didn't. YouTube loves crazy. YouTube loves dedication. YouTube loves when you do something so outlandish that people can't look away. That video didn't blow me up overnight, but it lit a fuse. Suddenly, more eyes were landing on my channel, more comments were popping up, and slowly, the snowball started rolling. But here's the key mindset that made all the difference. I stopped waiting for YouTube to give me permission. I stopped waiting for people to believe in me. I decided that if the world wasn't gonna hand me success, I was gonna take it. I told myself, Jimmy, you're not gonna stop until this works, period. No excuses. See, the reason most people fail isn't because they don't have talent, it's because they quit too soon. They expect success to show up in 5 videos, maybe 10. When it doesn't, they tell themselves the lie that they're not cut out for it. I refused to tell myself that lie. I told myself the opposite. If I failed 0 times, I'd upload 1. If I got 0 views today, I'd try again tomorrow. If nobody believed in me, I'd believe in myself twice as hard. That's the beast mindset. It's not about waiting for luck. It's about working so long and so hard that luck has no choice but to notice you. Here's another thing you got to understand. When I say I sacrificed, I mean I sacrificed. Every single dollar I earned, whether it was from mowing lawns, doing random side hustles, or the few pennies YouTube eventually gave me, I didn't spend it on clothes or food or fun. I spent it on YouTube. Better cameras, better mics, better editing software. Every dime went back into making the channel stronger. I didn't care about flexing, I cared about growing. And that's where most people mess up. They get a little taste of money and blow it. I reinvested every cent because I knew growth now meant freedom later. And then it happened. Slowly the sparks turned into a fire. My videos started to spread, people were sharing them, reacting to them, commenting on them. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't screaming into the void. I was speaking to an audience, real humans, and that audience was growing. The day I hit 100 subscribers, I sat there staring at the screen, 6 digits, 6. I couldn't even process it. Me, the kid with no money, no connections, no natural talent, had built something that thousands and thousands of people cared about. It was validation. It was proof. But most importantly, it was fuel. Because hitting 100K wasn't the finish line. It was the start line. It proved to me that if I could go from 0 to 6 digits, I could go from 6 digits to millions. And that's exactly what I set out to do. Now let me talk to you directly. You sitting there watching this video telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. Stop lying to yourself. There is no tomorrow. There is no perfect time. There's only now. And if you want something, whether it's YouTube, a business, a dream, whatever, you can't wait for permission. You can't wait for support. You can't wait for confidence. You have to move, even when nobody believes in you. I didn't hit 100K because I had the perfect plan. I hit 100K because I refused to quit. And you can do the exact same thing. Hitting 100, 0 subscribers wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was blood, sweat, sacrifice, obsession, and an unbreakable mindset. If you're sitting there thinking, I can't do it, I don't have the tools, I don't have the audience, let me remind you, I started with nothing but a dream and an internet connection. So here's my challenge to you. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Do something bold. Do something crazy. Do something so committed that people can't look away. And when the world laughs at you, when your videos flop, when nobody believes in you good, that means you're on the right track. Because if a broke teenager with 0 views can claw his way to 100 subscribers, then what's your excuse? When I hit 100 subscribers, people thought I'd finally slow down. Like, Jimmy, you made it. Relax, celebrate, maybe take a break. But here's the thing, I wasn't built to slow down. I didn't want to pause. I wanted to push harder. To me, 100K wasn't the finish line. It was just the beginning. So instead of chilling, I asked myself, how do I take this obsession and crank it up to the most ridiculous level imaginable? And the answer was simple. I had to do something so insane, so over the top, that nobody could ignore me. Here's the truth. Normal doesn't work on YouTube. If you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're invisible. I knew that if I wanted to stand out, I had to cross the line of what anyone thought was reasonable. That's when the wild challenges started popping into my brain, counting to 100, reading the dictionary, saying PewDiePie's name 100 times, watching paint dry for hours. These weren't just stunts, they were statements. They were proof that I was willing to go further than anyone else. And people thought I was out of my mind. Even my closest friends looked at me like I had finally snapped. Jimmy, why would you sit there for 40 straight hours counting numbers? Who wants to watch that? But I knew exactly why. It wasn't about the numbers, it was about the dedication. People don't click because they want to watch someone count. They click because they want to see how crazy someone can get. They want to test the limits of human patience. They want to watch someone do what they'd never even dream of attempting. So I set it up. Camera rolling, no fancy cuts, no expensive production. Just me, a kid with too much stubbornness, sitting in a room counting 1, 2, 3, 4 over and over until I hit 100. Do you know how long that takes? Over 40 hours. My voice cracked, my brain melted, my body screamed at me to stop, but I didn't stop. Because I knew that if I quit at 30, 0, or 50, 0, the whole point would be ruined. This wasn't just a challenge, it was a declaration. And when I uploaded it, the internet went crazy. People couldn't believe it. This dude actually sat there and counted to 100? It wasn't polished, it wasn't glamorous, but it was unforgettable. And unforgettable is what wins on YouTube. That video changed everything. It told the world, I'm not just another creator, I'm the guy who will go further than anyone else. After that, I realized I had found my weapon, pushing myself to extremes. So I doubled down. I said PewDiePie's name 100 times in a single video. Do you have any idea how long that takes? Days. Literal days. My throat felt like it was being shredded. But when people saw it, they were hooked. They couldn't believe someone would actually do that. That disbelief turned into views. Those views turned into shares. And those shares turned into momentum. It wasn't just about the stunts though. Every crazy challenge trained me to think differently. I wasn't making videos just to entertain. I was making videos to test limits, mine and everyone else's. I wanted to show people what obsession looked like in real time. Now here's the part most creators don't get. As the channel started to grow, money finally started trickling in. For the first time, I had more than just a few bucks from AdSense. But instead of keeping it, instead of celebrating, I put every single cent back into my videos. Better cameras, better editing software, eventually better props, and later, bigger challenges that required actual cash. While other creators were buying sneakers or cars, I was reinvesting everything. Because in my head, every dollar was a seed. If I planted it in my channel, it would grow into something bigger. But if I spent it on myself, it was gone forever. That's the mindset shift that separates winners from quitters. Most people want instant gratification. I wanted scale, I wanted growth, so I stayed broke while my channel got richer. And that's where the obsession with scale was born. After a while, I realized if I can get people to watch me count to 100, what else could I get them to watch? If I can reinvest $100 into a video and make it look insane, what happens when I reinvest 1,000, 10,000, 100,000? The idea started consuming me. Go bigger, go bolder, go crazier. Normal was dead to me. Everything had to feel like a spectacle. Everything had to feel larger than life. Because YouTube isn't about being average, it's about being unforgettable. And unforgettable requires scale. But let me be real, this wasn't easy. Behind the insane videos, there were breakdowns. There were days I was so exhausted I could barely move. There were moments when the money didn't stretch far enough, when I had to scrape together resources to keep the channel alive. My friends thought I was nuts. My family worried about me. But none of that mattered, because I'd already made the decision. No excuses, no backup plan, no stopping. If a video flopped, I didn't sulk. I analyzed. Why didn't it hit? Was the title weak? Was the thumbnail boring? Was the concept not extreme enough? Every failure was feedback. Every flop was a clue. And I treated YouTube like the most important puzzle in the world, because in my mind it was. One of the biggest lessons I learned during this time was reinvention. You can't just copy paste the same idea forever. If counting to 100, 0 worked once, cool, but it wouldn't work 100 times. So I kept asking myself, what's next? What's bigger? What's crazier? That's why I never clung to one style of video. I was willing to risk everything by constantly reinventing my channel, and that's terrifying. Because when something finally works, the easy thing is to hold on to it and milk it dry. But I knew that would kill me in the long run. Reinvention is uncomfortable, but it's also the only way to grow. And that's where I want to call you out. Are you playing it safe? Are you sticking to what's comfortable because you're scared to fail? Because let me tell you, comfort is the enemy of greatness. Nobody remembers safe. Nobody shares boring. If you want to stand out in a world drowning in content, you got to take risks that make people say, wait, did they really just do that? When I risked days of my life counting to 100, people thought I was wasting my time. But that risk is what put me on the map. The same goes for you. If you're not willing to risk your energy, your time, maybe even your sanity, then you're not serious about winning. This stage of my journey, the insane risks, the sleepless nights, the reinvest everything mindset wasn't glamorous. It wasn't fun most of the time. It was hard, it was uncomfortable, it was lonely, but it was also the stage that set me apart. Because anyone can make a YouTube channel, anyone can upload videos, but not everyone is willing to go further than everyone else. Hitting 100, 0 subscribers was the proof of concept, but pushing myself through these crazy challenges was the fuel that took me way past it. It taught me that limits are illusions, that scale is everything, and that obsession is a weapon. So here's the takeaway for you. Stop playing small, stop waiting for permission, stop being safe, find the thing that scares you, the thing that sounds ridiculous, and do it anyway. Because crazy dedication turns impossible dreams into unstoppable realities. And if I can prove it by literally counting to 100, you can prove it by chasing whatever insane dream is burning inside you. When the crazy challenges started blowing up and my subscriber count was climbing, I knew I couldn't stop there. I couldn't let myself get comfortable because comfort kills momentum. YouTube isn't about what you did last week, it's about what you're doing right now and what you're about to do next. The moment you relax, the moment you repeat the same formula too many times, people get bored and move on. So instead of asking, how do I maintain this? I asked, how do I scale this into something nobody has ever seen before? That's when the idea of going bigger with giveaways started. I had always reinvested my money back into the channel, but now I wanted to reinvest in a way that would blow people's minds. Think about it. Most creators keep their earnings, maybe buy a car, maybe upgrade their lifestyle. I wanted to flip that. I wanted to take the money, pile it up in the craziest way possible, and then give it all away in front of the camera. Not just because it made great content, but because it was unforgettable. Who gives away thousands of dollars in random challenges when they're not even rich themselves? Almost nobody. And that's exactly why I did it. The first time I gave away a big chunk of money, people thought it was fake. They were like, there's no way this kid is actually handing out thousands of dollars. He has to be scamming. But when they realized it was real, when they saw the reactions on people's faces, they couldn't look away. It wasn't about flexing money, it was about flipping the script. Instead of showing off what I had, I showed off what I was willing to give. That's when the channel really started to stand out. It wasn't just insane challenges anymore, it was life-changing challenges. But let me be clear, this wasn't easy money for me. I didn't have some rich uncle funding my channel. I didn't have investors throwing cash at me. Every dollar I gave away was a dollar I earned the hard way and chose not to keep. People don't realize how much discipline that takes. When you're young, broke, and finally making some income, your first instinct is to enjoy it, to treat yourself. But my instinct was the opposite. Every time I made money, I thought, how can I turn this into something bigger for the channel? And giving it away in epic ways was the best way to multiply attention, trust, and loyalty. That mindset turned into an obsession with scale. It wasn't enough to give away 1, 0. What if I gave away 10, 0? What if I gave away 50, 0? What if I pushed it to 100, 0? The bigger the scale, the bigger the impact. And the bigger the impact, the more unforgettable the video. Soon, the giveaways weren't just about the money. They were about creating experiences that nobody else was even attempting. Whether it was handing out cash to random strangers, tipping a waitress a brand new car, or building challenges where the winner walked away with life-changing amounts of money, every video became a spectacle. But as the scale grew, I knew I couldn't do it alone. In the early days, I was a one-man army. Filming, editing, uploading, analyzing everything was on me. That grind got me to 100K, maybe even past that, but it wouldn't get me to millions. I needed a team. I needed people who were as crazy, as obsessed, and as willing to sacrifice as I was. That's when I started pulling in my friends, training them, and building a crew that believed in the vision. Now, here's the thing about teamwork. People think it's easy. They think you just hire a bunch of people and suddenly everything runs smooth. That's not true. Building a team is messy. It means teaching people how to see the vision the way you see it. It means holding them accountable when things aren't perfect. And it means creating an environment where failure is allowed, but excuses are not. I didn't want employees. I wanted warriors who loved YouTube as much as I did. That took time, it took trial and error, but once I found the right people, the scale of what we could do skyrocketed. With a team, the ideas started flowing faster. Instead of me sitting alone for hours trying to figure out what the next big stunt would be, I had friends throwing crazy ideas on the table. Suddenly, we weren't just thinking about counting to 100, 0, or giving away a few $1,000s. We were brainstorming massive challenges, huge builds, and videos so ambitious they felt impossible. And the best part, we actually pulled them off. Of course, all of this required a work ethic that bordered on insanity. While most people worked 8 hours a day, I was working 16. While other creators uploaded once a month, I was uploading constantly. While others celebrated small wins, I was already chasing the next mountain. I lived and breathed YouTube every single day. It wasn't just a job, it wasn't just a passion, it was an obsession. And that obsession bled into the team. When people saw how hard I was willing to push, they either rose to the level or they dropped out. Because with me, there was no middle ground. The truth is, scaling like this isn't just about money or team, it's about mindset. Most creators hit a certain level and think, I've made it. They relax. They start protecting what they've built instead of chasing what's next. That's where they die. I refuse to think like that. To me, there was no finish line. There was only the next challenge, the next risk, the next crazy idea. If I gave away 50, 10, 0 today, I was already planning how to give away 50, 0 tomorrow. If we built something big this week, I was already planning something 10 times bigger next week. That's how you outwork everyone. That's how you make yourself impossible to ignore. And yeah, there were failures along the way. Videos that didn't perform, ideas that crashed and burned, times when I felt like I had pushed too far and maybe wouldn't recover. But every failure was fuel. I didn't let it slow me down. I dissected it, I learned from it, and then I came back with something even crazier. The failures didn't weaken me, they sharpened me. They made me fearless. Because once you survive enough flops, you realize they don't actually kill you, they just teach you. At this point, my obsession had shifted from just making videos to building a machine. I wasn't just a kid uploading random content anymore. I was a creator scaling an empire. Every piece of content was a brick. Every reinvested dollar was cement. Every risk was a blueprint for what came next. And as the machine grew, so did the audience. First, it was hundreds of thousands, then millions. And with every new milestone, I doubled down harder. But here's the most important part. None of this would have happened if I had made excuses. If I had told myself I was too tired, too broke, too inexperienced. If I had stopped at 10, 0 subscribers, or 50, 0, or even 100, 0. If I had settled, you wouldn't even know my name. The difference between me and the millions of people who quit is simple. I refuse to let excuses exist in my vocabulary. I refuse to let fear win. I refuse to stop. That's the lesson I want you to hear loud and clear. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need money or connections or perfect equipment to start. You just need obsession. You just need work ethic. You just need to be willing to go further than anyone else. And when the world tells you it's impossible, smile, nod, and then prove them wrong by doing it anyway. So if you're sitting there wondering if your dream is too big, let me remind you, people thought I was insane for counting to 100, 0. They thought I was wasting my life by reinvesting every dollar back into videos. They thought I was crazy for giving away money I didn't even really have. But every one of those crazy decisions built the foundation of everything I am today. Crazy is what works. Crazy is what scales. Crazy is what changes your life. The climb from 100, 0 subscribers to millions wasn't easy. It was brutal. It was exhausting. It demanded more than I thought I had in me. But it also taught me the most powerful truth of all. There are no excuses. Not for me, not for you, not for anyone who actually wants to win. And if you're willing to go all in, obsess, reinvest, take risks, reinvent, outwork everyone, then no dream is too big. Not even the ones that sound impossible right now. Because the truth is simple. I'm just a kid from nowhere who refused to quit. If I can build this, so can you. But only if you stop making excuses and start taking action right now.